Okay. Hello, Nigel. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you very much. And you, David, you well?
I'm very good. Very
Good.
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 Um, may I ask you first to introduce yourself and to describe a little bit your background?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Nigel Stone. I'm in the UK. My background is predominantly entrepreneurship. I've created a seed business through to 14, 15 million pounds turnover, funded with family funding, right the way through to B share issues, and growth within a market that was quite a challenging, competitive market, working with corporations. So the likes of corporations being big conglomerates that you would know and you would recognize every day of the week, like Sony, Samsung, T-Mobile, GSK, these big type of corporate organizations. Personally, I have a master's in entrepreneurship. I've just recently graduated with my doctorate, which focused on how entrepreneurs can be supported by coaches and mentors within um, entrepreneur development programs. So something very similar to what you're involved with, David. So yeah, my passion is entrepreneurship. I see myself is most effective working with entrepreneurs, and certainly within the growth stages of entrepreneurs, the stages where you're trying to get traction to build through your business.
Yeah.
So not the startups are really, really important and really interesting, and but the dynamics when you start to move through, it's bridging that gap from small to medium sized business that I'm sort of focusing on quite heavily.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Today, you're going to share with us a tool that you design, if I'm correct, and that you've
Yeah.
been using within your business. Can you tell us more about the tool and can you show us this tool?
Sure. So the first thing to do is to give credit. So where this started with Vern Harnish's his book Scale Up is a wonderful book. In here, it's got the one pager. And it's based around the one-page strategic plan. So going back to, 2007, 2008, I realized that within my business, as we were growing, we were developing 300 employees. It was becoming more and more of a taxing and complex task to share communication and keep the focus and your idea and your concepts around the vision, the purpose, the mission within the organization to keep the management team aligned to that. So I was looking for a tool in order to do that. So we started with the Vern Harnish one pager. So can we
Cool. Yeah, I
can you
can see.
see that?
Yeah,
Can you see that?
I can see.
Okay, so as a starter for 10, this is
Mhm.
the Vern Harnish one pager.
Okay.
Now, as a principle, the idea, the concept is to bring the important elements together into one place so that you can increase communication between the management teams. You create more defined focus around what you're trying to achieve, and it brings it's almost around the subject matter of um, it's not the plan that's really important, it's the planning process. So the planning process here is a way of presenting what you're trying to achieve within your
Mm.
organization.
Okay.
So there's some base principles here that I'll take into my tool. We won't spend very long on this, but just to give you an idea, there's the
Yeah.
core elements, there's the strategic elements, and then there's the execution elements. So you've got what is your business about, or about your culture, your core beliefs, your values, what this really means to you. Then you've got so that's right here and now what's happening. You have your strategy, which is the 3 to 5 year plan that you're looking at, the actions and the markets that you want to play in, and the brand promises that you want to keep. And it's got that wonderful Jim Collins BHAG down here, the big, hairy, audacious goals. Where do you want to be in 10, 20 years' time? So the real high level strategic stuff. And then on the right hand side, you have the executables, which is the stuff that you're doing right now, here, this year, this quarter. What's important to you right now, and who's accountable for that? And then across the top, you've got process and people metrics. So key element, KPIs that you see as really important for your business moving forward. So the base principles of Vern Harnish's one-page strategic plan, which is very, very valid in its own right, is a great place to start when you're thinking about your business. And, I think we talked about this, David, once, that this was a step on from the business model canvas. So it's defining it down into a little bit more detail. So that gives you a sense of the Vern Harnish business plan. If I now jump, bear with me 1 second. If I now jump to, can you see that, David?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so it's showing you. It's showing you a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to concentrate on. This is quite. Excuse me, just 1 second. This is quite a detailed document.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to concentrate on is just 2 tabs of this document. The first, as you can see at the bottom, the tabs, so you've got the strategic plan and you've got the business plan here. And the business plan is your operations. The strategic plan is the strategy within your business. And please feel free to interject with any questions, David, as I talk through this, because I'm aware that this can get quite complex and quite detailed quite quickly.
I'll jump in with a question.
Yeah.
Can you let me know at which stage were you in your business when you felt the need for that and you started to use it? Was it from start, or was it after 1, 2, 3 years, 300 people? At which stage were you?
I think it has a place within your business, sort of within sort of 3-4 years in. I think that's when it's most useful. For me, we were using a basic one-page of Vern Harnish plan at around that stage, but it was only at around probably 8 or 9 years in that the business had grown to such a point where it was maturing and we needed to get further traction and a more defined strategy, because there was a lot more around empowerment, so passing responsibility down to senior managers that were then off creating, in essence, their own businesses within a business. So it's that. I think there's value in it at the stage 1 for sure, for you to understand your business, but I think it really becomes powerful 3, 4, 5 years in, and then absolutely imperative for you to have something like this when you're looking for that growth stage within the business.
Okay.
Good. So just to give you a feel of what this is like, and now what I'm not prescribing is that this is what you use as a template. What I'm saying is you need your own version of whatever this looks like that works for you within your business. So it's a place where you can capture this information and then you can use it within. So the strategic plan you can use when you're talking to your bank manager, you can use it when you're talking to your shareholders, your senior management team, you can use it when you're working with anybody that a VC would be interested in the detail in it. Whereas the business plan here, the operational element is more around focusing on day-to-day elements of your business and what you're trying to achieve. So with that sort of starting point acknowledged, I'll dive in and give you some detail around some meat on the bones. What we have in this, we have I'm going to do this in a specific order so you can get a sense and a feel for why this works the way it does. What we have here on the left hand side is we have your sales data. So we have the actual from last year, we have the budget for this year, and then we have the forecast for the next 2 years ahead. I did look to have that increase to the next 3-4 years, but actually that became a bit too cumbersome to manage because the figures became more remote as you moved away from them. So you have this element of what we've done last year, what we're doing this year, and what we're looking to achieve going forward. Now, all this links together, all this data links together. So we have revenue streams from different services here and your cost of sales associated with those. So when you're looking at this data, this paints a picture of what your business is and what you're trying to do and where you're going. Obviously really important to shareholders, investors, etc., but also extremely important to the management team. because they get a sense of understanding. When I say the management team might be you and your business partner. It doesn't have to be 7 senior managers sat around a table board style. This could be just the way in which you're looking at your business and your expectations, especially if you're having to give returns to venture capitalists, etc. So we have a plan here around the numbers. What we then have is a sense and feeling across the bottom of what your business is, all this stuff that we talk about in the past. So what's your elevator pitch? What's your vision? What's your mission? What's your values? What's your core motivation? What's your purpose? So within my business, it's all about the people, because I was a people service business or organization. So all this stuff that you capture, these are really interesting elements and things that should be really core to you within your business. And it's a refreshing change to have that alongside your strategy, because this is one of the vehicles that you're going to use, any one of these areas, to drive your business performance. And it can be quite practical in application. So things like, what words describe your business? So trust, commitment, enthusiasm, honesty. Those should be appearing on your website, in your brochures, on your communication. So we have this area here of all that stuff that we talk about a lot, but we don't really capture in any one place. So this goes into your strategic plan. So building this forward, now this is the really important part around here. So we've got the numbers, last year's, this year's, and the next couple of years. Then what we have up here is the opportunities to exceed those numbers and the threats to making those numbers.
Okay.
So we have, in this instance, we have revenue here, which is building the business moving forward. And there's some quite significant jumps. If you look at revenue here around, moving into significant numbers from 1.5 to 21 million. So where are you going to get that from? Well, the opportunity to exceed that is to do it quicker. So increased rollout of retail staffing services, which was what that was in relation to. And I could see that there was an opportunity there. However, a chance, something that could really affect the way in which we were going to deliver this, and might come in another area, say up here, is loss of a major client. So what you have there is you have your numbers, you have what type of business you are, and then you have the opportunities to exceed that and the threats to you exceeding it. Again, this is stuff that you could work through with your management team, with your business partner, with your shareholders, with your VC, depending on the type of relationship you have, or your investment angel, whoever. So what we have is now we're building a picture of what the strategy is looking like. Now let's take that another step forward. Now, who's responsible for this stuff, and what does it look like? So we've set up here, right at the top here, that we're going to look at opportunity to exceed plan is to roll out retail services. Okay, so the action is for us to deploy retail services as a standalone division within the company. Okay, what does that look like? Company retail to trade in its own client base, website, physical location, back up, basically spinning that out as its own business. Who's going to champion that? Who's going to be responsible for that? And when are they going to have it delivered by? And the percentage mark is how far along the way are they doing this? How far along the way are they in achieving this? So what we have there is a picture of the strategy of your business. So you've got the numbers, you've got opportunities to exceed, challenges towards achieving that. Who's responsible for doing the major elements of that business, and what it looks like when you deliver that. And then underpinning all that is your high level purpose, mission, vision, values of your business. So in a nutshell, that's the strategic plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Can I ask you something? What was the process that you used to fill it? Are you the one as a CEO responsible for it, and you do everything, or is it a shared document with the management team and they go into it, they fill it? How do you work with it?
I think there's multiple ways. It depends what type of an organization you are and your leadership style within that organization and how many people there are. I actually built this page, and when we'll jump on in a moment to the business plan, the operational element, which I think is far more relevant to the operational element, the junior to medium managers within the business. But this, if it was me, and I'm sure you'd say the same thing, David, let's get around, let's get into a meeting room, let's get post-it notes up on the board. Let's explore what this business could look like. Because if you know what the numbers are going to be, you're then talking about how can we exceed those numbers, or or what's the threat to not exceeding those
mm,
numbers.
mm,
And I'm one for, if you engage with people at a
mm.
level where you're saying, what do you think we can achieve? They generally say more than what you think we can achieve. So
Really?
yeah, absolutely. Because if you're building a vision and for your business,
Yeah.
then I mean, one of the mantras I have, and I was working with a couple of really, really great entrepreneurs in the last few days,
Hmm.
and during those conversations, for me, it's about, okay, so your strategy is to do those numbers.
Hmm.
Okay, now you can see by from just a very simple conversation, you can see a route through to achieving those numbers because you're committing to them. So you're saying, okay, I've got 10 million there. I'm going to do
Mm.
10 million because I can see that, say within the UK, I can see that I'm going to have a deal with Waitrose.
Yeah.
So I can see that's easy, but that's not strategic planning. That is basically following the route, the trajectory that you've already set out. My question comes in with, okay, so if that's really a strategic objective, if Waitrose say no, you're still committed to those numbers. How are you going to deliver them? So what are you thinking about them? What other retailer will you have in play there?
Hmm.
I would ask questions like, are you okay? So if you're so committed to those numbers, what's plan B and plan C? Would you look to the European markets? Would you look to going into working with brokers and
Hmm.
selling your product through those channels? So for me, when you create a strategic plan, what you're doing is you're setting a vision for your business, and those numbers relate to other decisions that are being made. So
Hmm.
linking that in, if I'm saying I'm going to increase my turnover by 20-25%, I'm also going to introduce and build up my back office to support that.
Yeah.
So I'm playing with people's lives here. If I recruit 3 or 4 people on with the view to supporting my business growth,
Yeah.
then I have a duty of care to those people. So I need to deliver on those numbers. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
One comment.
Yeah.
If I relate to my experience as an entrepreneur, I mean, I have not been to the stage where you were with 300 people and several million pounds turnover. I had a startup. I raised 1.4 million euros, and I had a small team of 10 people. And when I looked at your tool, my first thought was that's extremely comprehensive. So it's a huge work to take care of all that. And then I started to think, uh, what did I need when I was an entrepreneur? And again, I was very early stage, and I realized that I needed a vision, I needed a purpose, I needed values. Then I wanted to raise funds. So I needed to do a budget and an action plan for all these things that you are capturing in one document. Actually, I had to build them for my startup, even if I was not 3 or 4 years into the business. So, what I think is that this tool, though it seems extremely comprehensive, it can be useful even for early stage startups. Maybe the way they should use it is that they don't have to feel everything from the start.
Oh
But
yes.
yeah, but it's a reminder for them that if they want to build a business that is sustainable for the next 5 to 10 years, they're gonna have to think about all that.
I
And
think that's I think that's such an awesome observation there. This needs what we're doing is painting a picture
yeah,
of what your strategy might look like. I
yeah,
think should I jump into the
yeah,
business plan,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I think this will address. So I'm sure there'll be some of your entrepreneurs that are thinking, oh my god, yeah, but this is really heavy,
yeah,
high level stuff. But actually, you're right. You need this stuff,
yeah,
but whether you need it in one place, like I said, that first tab, that strategic plan, is focused more on the overarching management direction, vision of your business.
yeah.
The second tab is more operational, it's more day to day, it's more focused
Okay.
on what's here and now. So let's just have a quick run through this, because I think this will, you might be absolutely right here, David, that this might be more relevant to a startup in their phase of the business, because this is much closer to that of the business model canvas.
Yeah.
So just to give you a sense of where we are now. So now we're talking about the next year ahead.
Yeah.
We're talking about each quarter. So we're functioning within our business on a day-to-day basis, really.
Mhm.
What we have on the right-hand side is our current commercials, Q1, Q2, Q3,
Mhm.
Q4. So we're saying on a quarterly basis, what are we looking to achieve? What's the actual? What's our budget? What's the variance to that? And now I do understand. I was there. That you're not going to have a ream of accountants doing this stuff. So actually, 2 or 3 lines in these areas might be useful to you, as opposed to in-depth detail. I mean, there's other stuff on the strategic plan that that is really really useful, that I didn't talk about because it's too in depth. For this though, on everything on this page, I think is relevant to where you are within your business. So you've got your yearly expectation of what you're going to do, your actual. So you're looking at your numbers. Over here, you have your monthly. So this month we've done this. April we've done this, May we've done this, June we've done this. These are really fundamentals you should know about your business, because as we know, it's not profit that kills your business. It's the lack of cash. So
Yeah.
managing these elements is really really important. So what we have that is that, again, we have the numbers which is related to your business, so it's showing that you're in control of your business.
Okay.
What we then have is next to this is key metrics within your business. So mine was a people staffing business. So recruitment vacancies, if I didn't have people employed, then it was costing me money. If I had people in disciplinary or absenteeism, then these were causing me major issues, because actually that was revenue that I could have been bringing into my business. So if my recruitment process wasn't great, because I was basically recruiting on behalf of other organizations as well,
Mhm.
then that was an opportunity for me to excel against my budgets. If I had huge event numbers of people not there, so as a management team, if I didn't know about this stuff, we could have literally been achieving our plan, if we just did what we were meant to be doing as an organization really well.
Mhm.
Then what we have is things things like your customer satisfaction score. So I use the Net Promoter Score. So out of 5, how much, or how likely are you to recommend my services that I give to my clients to another person or to another business? So we had a measurement there, but that was in trial at the stage. Then we have things like debtor days. What's your debtor days? How much work have you done without a purchase order? What cash are you generating within your business? So are you looking to get cash in the bank, or are you making your business work in terms of the funds that you've got available to you? So
Mhm.
are you, if you've got an invoice discounting relationship with your bank and you're borrowing money, are you making use of the money that you've got coming in, so that you're not spending money on interest? So these are all sort of top line management metrics that we would talk about every month. Whereas the strategic plan, as a management team, we would talk about every quarter. So
Okay.
it gives you a sense that we're now meeting as managers and we're saying, okay, so this is how we're doing this year. This is how we're doing on a monthly basis. These are the key metrics that are really important to us. Then what we dive into is, what are our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? So the old
Mhm.
SWOT analysis, but gives you a real sense of where you are right now within your business. So what's, the litmus paper test, what's happening right now? So, some of the things here, we were strong cash position, so ability to invest in new business ventures, great stuff. Weaknesses, all eggs in one basket. So too much, we were reliant too heavy on a few clients. Ability to make commercial decisions and good financial decisions was an opportunity. We knew that we could do this better. Senior management team not achieving required operational strategic performance. So that was a threat to the business, because that's a threat to us doing what we do really, really well. So a really simple, down to earth strategy in terms of your SWOT. And then just to finish this off, because we're looking at this year and we're looking at this quarter, what we have is the same base principles, but looking at the quarter. So what's the theme for this? What are we going to focus on during this quarter? What are our objectives, our goals? So in this instance, so what are we going to focus on? So we're going to focus on number 1, number 2, number 3, because I'm a great believer, if you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. So in this instance, so what is going to be the key themes for us? And then what is it, how are we going to go? How are we going to go about achieving this?
Mhm.
So what's the focus? Because what we need to accept is management teams, even at supervision level, that if we're aware of this stuff and this is what we're going to achieve, how we're going to do it, we need to make sure that all the ducks are in a row and that everybody's working towards achieving that plan. So it's really clear that these are our objectives for this quarter. And all these numbers relate to what we're doing here and now. And lastly, on this page was, what's our brand sales and marketing initiatives that we're going to be taking forward this quarter? What does that look like? So what we have in relationships to the strategic plan and the operational plan is we have different target audiences. We have one that's more executable, more focused on the here and now. And then we have the strategic, and this is through these two metrics. However simple you decide to have these, you could have half a dozen bullet points, and if that what works well for you, then that's great. What this allows you to do, though, is control your business, control your cash, control your strategy, and get a sense of building awareness behind what you're trying to achieve on a quarterly, yearly, and then long-term 3-5 year basis.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Again, it relates a lot to what I experience as an entrepreneur. What you are showing me there, I had to work on my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I remember when I was the CEO and co-founder of my startup, I had no CFO to start with. And some investors trusted me up to the point that they gave me 1.4 million euros. And when you have investors that are trusting you, the least thing you want to do is to spend the money on without giving a return. So I remember that every day, I was looking at the cost that we were spending, and I knew euro by euro what I was spending and why I was spending it. So I think it's extremely important and extremely valuable to be looking to have the quarterly view, to have the monthly view, and to know exactly what cash is in the bank and what you are spending. Now I have a few questions, comments about all that. When you, some people may claim that it's fitted for right brain type of people, who are extremely analytical. Did you face any reluctance when you wanted to implement this tool, and what did you do to manage these reluctances, if there were?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what you're saying there, David. And I think, if anything, the right brain has a place. The left brain is the strong on the leadership side of things, but you need information. So the right brain needs to be able to support you in developing, um, the hard and fast, the core elements of your business. And how can you be a good leader and be efficient in the decisions that you're making if you don't have the information to hand? So I'm going to link all this together. I think for me, it's all about the value you get out of what you do. So if you're seeing value in this, and your management team see value in it, then I think it's a powerful tool for you to influence the way in which your business is doing something and give a reason why. One of the bits that I didn't touch on, and I'll just show you just for a moment. There's just on the right hand side here, and I didn't cover on this because I think it's too much for this session talking about gearing and return on capital employed, etc. But this bit here is really interesting. So this company valuation,
Yeah.
the very fact that you've got all these numbers and you understand what you're doing with the business, you can basically through I tried and tested this template. I had an accountant work out for me, so I'm not suggesting people do this, but what it does is it gives you an indication of what your business is worth. So if I do deliver on this, what does this look like? Well, so does this give value to the people, the management team that have got equity in that business and they can see what they're building towards? Yes, I think it does. And I also think if you then pure you're right. It's you kindly use the word comprehensive. I would say that for somebody looking at this now, this is quite complicated, and I understand it's complicated, but it's a sense and a feeling that actually something like this might be useful for you, but it might be in a very, very different form. To me, the value that this gave was clarity. So it gave the management team. I could say, look, what we need to do. We've agreed on this plan. This is where we're going to go for. Now, who's going to own it?
Mhm.
So who's going to be responsible for that? And because if you take the strategy sides of things, we're meeting every quarter. We're updating on a quarterly basis what we're doing with our new initiatives.
Yeah.
So I think it aids the process. So I think it's linked very heavily to value. If you're seeing through doing something like this that you're
Mhm.
getting value out of it, then do it. If you don't see any value in it at all
Mhm.
and it doesn't work for you, then find another way through. But you, like you said quite rightly, David, you need to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, your
Yeah.
business is at risk. And you're the custodian of your business, and if you're not focusing on or having understanding the relationship between your numbers and the actions that you're taking within your business, then I would say that your ship is rudderless and that you're not fulfilling your true position as a leader within your organization. I know
Yeah.
that sounds a bit harsh, but that's my perception. You should have something like this that's in play in your business.
Uh, I would really tend to agree. We often say that it's complex to make things simple, and I think you need to go into that kind of process, dig into the numbers, uh, build something comprehensive before you can communicate things in a simple way. So, and I can remember where again when I was trying to raise my first round that was seed funding towards business angel, they were asking me what would be the value of the company in 5 years. So I had to estimate for each year what I was going to spend, what was the forecasted revenue, what was the EBITDA, and what was the multiple and the expected value. So you have to give all that information to a board and to investors, definitely,
Mm,
very,
mm,
very early.
yeah.
Uh, Practical question. Uh, what kind of meetings do you build around that tool in order to make it live? Is it one meeting every quarter, one meeting every month, every week? How do you manage that?
Okay. I mean, I guess this is dependent on your leadership style. Within my organization, we had a quarterly meeting which focused on the strategy of the business, and at that time, that would be a full day off site with all the key decision makers within the business, and that would be everybody. So that would be the guy who was looking after the warehouse. It would be bringing them all together to talk about what we're trying to achieve and to realign the overall or strategy. Because I'm a very firm believer that everybody needs to know this information. So quarterly, we would have a full day offsite where we would celebrate, even if it was a poor quarter, we would
Mhm.
celebrate because we'd be looking at, okay, now how can we move this forward? Operationally wise, looking at the business plan sort of here and now during the year, we would have a weekly catch-up meeting which would deal with the executables, things here and now, what's going on, where are we having problems. So that would happen every Monday morning, and that would be an hour and a half, with all the key support department heads. Every month, we would have a monthly meeting, operational meeting, which would again would be a full day where we would look at the aspects of the information that's contained within this and update in line with current thought processes. And I think the other thing that was really interesting here is that you're focusing on that you're linking what's happening within your business to the strategies that you're trying to achieve,
Yeah.
and I think that becomes more relevant as you're building your business and you're starting to think, okay, I need to think ahead. So one of the a great example of this would be we had a conversation around, okay, we've got a problem, and on a monthly basis we can't compete with some of the really big suppliers on a European basis because we didn't have European coverage. So one of the ideas that came out of the operation or discussion was, okay, we need some form of focus on a European relationship. That then dripped into the strategy, and then we built 14 like-minded agencies across Europe so we could compete for the higher contract bids at a joint relationship level. So you see the link through. So what you have is to sum up, you have monthly you have weekly meetings, to pit stop meetings, to see where you are, what you're doing, what's going well, what's not going well, put the fires out there catching fire. You have a monthly meeting to review the performance of that month, look at things, that how that relates to the quarter that you're in, and then also you're reviewing key strategies that that you as a leader, you would be doing that anyway. And then on a quarterly basis, you'll have a full offsite meeting to discuss the strategy, and see where you need to realign and what you need to do going forward. And at certain times of the year, that'll be planning for the next year that's coming up 2-3 years away. What does that look like?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are basically approaching the end of our session.
Okay.
When we coach entrepreneurs, very often we ask them to do elevator pitch and to sum up, to wrap up the business in one sentence. If you were to pitch your tool to an entrepreneur and convince him in one sentence to use it, how would you sum up? What would you say?
Oh, what a wonderful question. Thanks ever so much for advising me in advance that I would have this question as well, David. I think if it was a pitch, and I would say this puts all your information, all your really important information, in one place,
Okay.
so that you can now improve your overall business's communication, your leadership ability. You can also improve your overall business's performance through increasing awareness within the organization. Because for me, communication's key. If we're not communicating, then things go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I fully agree. Fully agree. Communication is key. Nigel, thank you very much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much for your time. Thank you for sharing so many information, which I believe are very valuable. So one word to remember: communication. I fully agree, and I will add one word, that's inspiration. I think that what you just shared is an inspiration for many entrepreneurs, and again, they can adapt the tool to their own leadership
Oh God,
style,
yes.
to their own need, but it's an inspiration for them to be better in communication.
Yeah, absolutely agree 100%. And, please feel free to reach out if there's anything I can help with in the future. And, I'm not pushing Vern Harnish's book, but that is a
Yeah,
guide for doing. If you want to start anywhere, it's a wonderful place to start to have a look. And it's really simple and easy in there. What we showed you was a defined model.
cool.
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
you're
Nigel. Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.